Hi guys, and welcome back to History Help for You. Today we're going to be going over Mary the First again, this time looking at her foreign policy. So a sort of key aspect of her foreign policy was her marriage to Philip II of Spain, and this kind of entangled England in any sort of issues that Spain had. So that was rather convenient. Specifically the Habsburg-Valois conflict and the rivalry. And this was mainly against France, and Philip wanted to sort of get even more land, especially in France. But by England getting involved because of Spain, it kind of it says it diverted resources. So yeah, as we'll see, it wasn't really that useful in the long term, especially because Mary had to use her own funds to sort of fund the conquest, I guess you could say, and had to eventually debase the coinage even further to sort of pay for the alliance and kind of help out. We had some English troops sent to help out in sort of Spanish campaigns in the Low Countries, and so the already depleted military within England was now strained even further. And obviously, with England being Spain's ally, they had to formally declare war on France in June 1557. And then you also had the Battle of St. Quentin, which was kind of promising for both England and Spain. It was a significant victory for England and Spain, where the English troops played a supporting role and boosted confidence because, they won. However, things would all go downhill. You had Calais that had been sort of within English possession for quite a while. But it was then later attacked by the Duke of Guise of France, sort of in retaliation for St. Quentin, and sort of lost there. And because of underfunding and neglect to Calais, it was actually lost. And this was quite embarrassing. It was a week-long siege, and it was eventually surrendered. And Mary famously said, "When I am dead and opened, you shall find Calais lying in my heart." It was quite embarrassing in the sense that they'd had Calais for such a long time, and the hope was kind of to make a Spanish alliance to make them a bit stronger and have even more land, and yet they've lost one of the only bits of foreign land that they've had for many years. You also, it's got even worse. You also had an attempt to capture the French port of Brest, and this was kind of to dominate the English Channel, and to threaten France even more. She even funded and supplied Spanish forces and also committed resources. After sort of seeing the failure of Calais, she sort of put a lot of work into trying to get Brest, try and kind of renew the sort of the losses of Calais. This one ended up working. There was poor coordination between the English and the Spanish, and so it was chaotic and unsuccessful. And it also sort of showed again the weaknesses of the alliance between England and Spain. England will cost a lot of money. Obviously, Spain at the time were quite minted. England were not. Cost a lot of English money in troops, and there was no territorial gain whatsoever. Also, yeah, England had a lot of trade with the Low Countries, especially sort of like Bruges, being the kind of Bruges and like Antwerp, kind of being like your heart of your economic trade hub. Therefore, attacking them it's gonna screw you over. This then disrupted commerce, and yeah, the sort of wool and cloth industry was impacted. Yeah, I mean, as it says, the wool trade shifts to places like Antwerp, but yeah, it just further bankrupted the crown. And as we shall see soon, we sort of then look at the steps that Mary I takes to try and address the sort of economic issues, because as you've seen, when we've been looking at like Edwards and now onto Mary, the sort of economic stability is just really lacking, and really not there. Yeah, just a quick summary. We got dragged into the Habsburg Valois wars because of the alliance with Spain that was meant to help us. It really didn't. Lost Calais, that was complete military humiliation. Something that had been held for years and years, and it also kind of damaged the Tudor image. Henry VIII, whether you like him or not, was kind of seen as rather powerful, I guess you could say, kind of with his like foreign policy, especially kind of like through glorifying his battles. However, again, further economic instability, and this would kind of again have an influence on Elizabeth's reign. We'll see when we cover Elizabeth that Spain essentially tries doing the same thing that has happened to Mary, by like trying to marry and make an alliance. But Elizabeth is having none of that at all. So that is it for foreign policy. We've still got society and economy. I think that's all that's left. Might be a bit more. But yeah, thanks guys. I shall see you in the next video.